And we're here, and we're listening to OG eat something. What is that? Do you have a jawbreaker, OG?
Hello.
I hear you chewing. I hear you're chewing on something.
Ah, it's matcha candy.
Ah, it's matcha candy. Well, hello. Hero Select episode
Hello.
4. OG
Mm-hmm.
is our guest today. He's looking very pretty, as you can see in his camera. OG, my background is your belly, actually. So the viewers are
Wait.
gonna like that. The viewers are gonna like OG's belly. So this is OG, everyone. Obviously, main tank for the Gladiators, and my mouse is dying while I say this. And he was having some rare steak earlier, right? That's what it was. It was some rare
Mhm.
steak. We caught him right at dinner time. So he was feasting. He was feasting today. So we're gonna keep today short because we're gonna keep today a little shorter because we're crunched for time. And also, OG said like, oh, I don't. Maybe I'm not as comfortable, but like I told him, Dogman can barely speak English, so I think OG will be fine. His English is very good. So episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
And we always start out at the beginning, OG, for everyone, since this focus around you and like you going through Overwatch and going through it, becoming a professional, is
Mm-hmm.
the big 3 questions,
Okay.
OG, which is why, when, and how. So we'll start with why. So why Overwatch? Why choose to play Overwatch for you? Because at the time, Korea is very big into
Mhm.
esports compared to like North
Yeah.
America and even Europe. So why Overwatch out of all the games that you could have played? Why choose Overwatch in the beginning? Before you even became a pro, just why Overwatch at all?
You mean why I play Overwatch?
Yeah, why play Overwatch? Because you could have played
Oh,
League, you could have played like Dota, you could have played Counter Strike or whatever the
uh,
other games that might be in Korea. I forgot what they're called, like the Counter Strike type of games.
yeah.
Like why Overwatch?
Uh, when I was in high school, it's just like we had like the game, like we had different class, and everyone are like try to like play against like other class, like other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just start with friends, and I was like played with friends, and then yeah, I just start because friend, I think.
So all your friends played Overwatch, and so you started playing it
Yeah,
too.
it was really
Okay.
famous in Korea.
Yeah, and were you playing it in? Because also for people that aren't aware, I'm sure
Hmm.
most people are, but like, did you have your own computer? Or was it like a PC bang?
Oh, I always went PC Bang.
Always PC bang. Okay.
Yeah, always.
And how does it? So I've never actually gone to one. I've only
Hmm.
been to Korea once,
Hmm.
and does it work? So you just show up and you pay like a certain amount of time, and that's how long you have the computer and the
Yeah,
game to play. Okay, so you would
yeah.
go in and it would play. Like, how much would it cost you? Do you think, like, to go there and play for like how long do you generally play? Like all day?
Uh, usually like when I was really like grinding,
Mm-hmm.
like 10 hours, 11 hours, I was just stuck in
Oh.
there. And I just order food from there, and then I eat there. I poop there. I play there every time.
And how much would it cost you think for like translating
Uh,
maybe into like
like
US or something?
like 10 for 4 it was like for 10 hours
Uh-huh.
like $8
Wow.
$9.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a
Yeah.
bad that's not a bad deal at all. So you started playing
Mhm.
with your friends in
Mhm.
Overwatch, and then what sort of motivated you, to say like because in 2017 you actually started playing in like Apex type of stuff. So
Yeah.
what made the transition to for you from just playing in the PC bank to I want to play Overwatch maybe like pro? Like
Mm.
why what was
uh
the thinking behind that?
uh Actually, like I was trying to play challenges for fun with my friends,
Mm-hmm.
but we failed. And then I thought like I just don't have reason for that. But one day I was playing Korean rank,
Yeah.
and then I met some like amateur team player, and then he just told me like their coach wanted to try to like make me join the team.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to call with him.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't believe him. Like it was like everything was real. Like I thought he was lying or something. But I just like tried because
So someone
like
recommended
yeah.
you to come
Yeah,
to
yeah,
come play. They
yeah,
said
it
that
was
you're
crusty.
you're oh, it was Krusty. So it was Krusty. So it was
Yeah.
Krusty because I was trying to figure this out. So you didn't start playing
Mhm.
professionally, in Apex and the Challengers until like 2017. And you were on a team. You were on. It says because we're gonna jump right in because I imagine for most of 2016
Yeah.
you were just playing ranked, right? Just only ranked for all of 2016, and then 2017
Uh,
you go play
I
Challengers.
play I play Scream for fun like with friends. It was like TK or like some random like players.
Okay, so it was just like pound around. So then, and then when someone recommended you, you're like, okay, maybe then I want to go pro now. Like, were you thinking about going pro before, or was it not until someone
No,
said?
not until someone say.
Okay. So then, and and during this time, were you like a pretty high rated player? Like were you always top 500 or like top 50? Like, and that's how people noticed you because you were really highly rated on ladder? Or was this person a friend that recommended you?
I think I used to be good at Ryan, like way before.
You used to
Like
be
I
good at Ryan? Not now,
yeah,
though?
and then I mean,
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
like I used to be good, so like I think people like recognize it, like, oh, this guy is good at Ryan, you know.
Okay. And so that's 2016. You know, you're just playing PC bangs. You're just grinding all day.
Hmm.
Oh, you seem to have shifted. You know what? Put your camera a little. Put it
Okay.
towards the other. So let's say you're left. I think you're left. Yes. Yeah. That's good. That's really good. Yeah. A little shift over. Perfect.
Mhm.
Okay. So then 2017. So you get recommended. Krusty's that coach, and your first team was, I think, for the first one I could find was that you played for Challengers, which was NC Foxes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's tough to keep up with all the Korean teams because like they become so many other teams. There's like O2 Blast,
Yeah.
which becomes O2 Ardent, and then it's like NC
Yeah.
Foxes, which becomes White Whale or some shit like that. Like it's really
Yeah.
tough to keep up with. So
Yeah.
NC Foxes. And NC Foxes was Krusty's and Neko, who, you know, played for Uprising and played for Defiant. That was their former team. And you finished, I think it was like third in Challenger for Apex or something like that in the Challengers for Apex. Was Krusty, like meeting Krusty then, do you think at the time that did he help develop you as a player, do you think? Or was that before he really became the superstar like coach that people think he is for Shock? Do you think early on like your paths crossed, like he helped you? Or was it just sort of your own thing, you know?
I think he helped me a lot, but like before I didn't know. Like I
Mhm.
didn't like his coaching style, like because
Yeah.
I was like baby or something like that. Like I just didn't like his coaching style, and like I didn't understand like he's right or wrong, you know. And then
Yeah.
I just decided to leave the team. But like after that, like I recognized everything was everywhere.
So was you saying you were a little too like, was he like too commanding, you know? And you didn't like that he was like such a, like, some would say bossy, maybe. Some people have said
Yeah.
that he was bossy, and like if you're a young kid, right, like you don't want to get bossed around necessarily and told how
Yeah,
to
I
play.
think I think I was just a baby, to be honest.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So then, so you finish in Challengers, then you play your first season of Apex, actual Apex, which was with Conbox. And Conbox, for everyone that wasn't aware, had Gamsu and Twilight and Zumba at one point. But I think that wasn't, you didn't play with them, obviously. You played with, it was Asher, Architect, and like Revenge, right?
Yeah, Revenge.
Yeah. Okay. So it had like all these big players on there. Did you, at the time, because it seems weird now when you think about it, because Conbox really wasn't that good in Apex. You guys really didn't do that well. Which isn't necessarily wrong, right? But it seems weird that all these really good players came from that team, including yourself. So what do you think that part of the reason you guys didn't perform well at that time was just you weren't, like, the teams at the time were just that good, or you guys just as a team were not really that good?
I think, to be honest, I think I just feed a lot.
You just fed a lot then?
Yeah, in Apex, I think. Like
Okay.
I was like I had nervous problem, I think.
So you think for this, a lot of this, because obviously it's a pretty big gap, right? Because you didn't, like, like a lot of players, like including myself even, we started in 2016 playing with teams and playing tournaments, but you just went from ranked ladder right into Apex pretty much.
Yeah.
Was that like would you describe that as like a pretty big learning experience for yourself, like a shock, like going from that ranked ladder? Because Korean ranked, everyone says, is really good, which it generally is much better than North American ranked.
Yeah, of course.
And it was like a big step up from you, and you had to learn like crash course, like you get into the Apex and you're just feeding and you're just like learning that maybe you aren't that good. Like it was a big shock for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then would you describe that as like an experience that's different from the normal? Like, is it hard for players compared to like how you got on a team and got into Apex? Do you think it was like you had a different experience than a lot of Korean players getting into Apex, right? Because some players, they sit there and they grind Challengers and they grind online and on ranked ladder for a long time, and they might not make it into Apex, right? But you get it pretty fast, honestly. You know, a recommendation on the NC Foxes. Do you think that was like more of just someone seeing your potential early, or would you describe it as almost lucky in a sense that you got there that fast?
I don't think it was lucky, but like I just like really I played really good when I was playing for tryout for combat.
Yeah.
It was me and Smurf,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I played really good, and then like I had really good like core like leader or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like they just decide to like okay, let's you can join this team or something like that, and then I just joined. I think I just played really good for tryout. I think.
Yeah. And then compare that, of course. So you said you didn't even want to go pro at all to start out with. Like, it just someone
No.
said, like, okay, I'm going to go pro. So you started playing, and I'm assuming then you liked playing pro.
Yeah.
What was the money like at the time, right? Because, like, generally what everyone says is that, and this is like in every esport even, is that like good
Yeah.
Korean players or European players, they go to America, they go to North America to get paid more money, even though that's way worse. Would you describe like the experience in Apex at the time was there really wasn't a lot of money compared to, like, let's say being on a team in the West, right? Like C9
Uh,
or
yeah.
FaZe.
We didn't get any money though.
No money.
We need no money, and like I right now because like okay, so example like when I was playing for Combox, like we got no money, like we had just like okay apartment, and then like I don't know, just it was
Did you
like
get
really
food?
tough. Yeah, we got food, but not really like if you are trying to buy something a lot, like the
Yeah.
company said, oh like oh you guys shouldn't buy it that much, like
Mm-hmm.
it was something like shit. Like if you think about right now, like it was really bad.
Yeah. So just really like not a lot of money there at all. And you're
No
not
money.
really making much money either, because also since you weren't necessarily winning a lot of things, you weren't getting prize money, right? Like, so not a lot of prize money
Yeah.
either.
Hmm.
So then we take that into the fact. So it's a pretty short time, all considered, in 2017, you playing pro. And then we get into Overwatch League for first season, 2018 season, and you
Hmm.
get signed by Fuel.
Yeah.
So how exactly did that happen, right? Because you didn't have great results in Apex,
Yeah.
and you're a very new player, all things considered,
Hmm.
not a huge brand.
Hmm.
So then how did that go from Conbox OG to Dallas Fuel OG? Did they approach you and say like, hey, we want to give you a tryout, or like what exactly happened there?
Okay. It's like long story. Okay, so I don't I don't remember like what team was like I don't remember like oh, Oputo?
Yeah, Oputo, yeah.
I was playing with him like for some team I don't remember name right now, but we are trying to go like other contender uh other country competitive for Overwatch. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember which team, but it was 9K, me, Happy, and it was someone else, but I don't remember. But we were almost signing there, like signing for their like that team, but we were trying to like make better contract, and they didn't want to like sign us, and then we just got like fucked up because we couldn't join like Apex again. I mean, we had trial, but like we like, actually couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then Overwatch League just was trying to make like academy team.
I'm sorry, I'm fucking with your camera right
Oh,
now.
mm,
It's very scuffed,
okay,
but just ignore that. Just ignore that the
yeah,
camera's scuffed, but
yeah,
continue your story. So you're trying to make Overwatch League, you were playing with Oputo, and it wasn't working out
yeah.
very well.
Yeah, because their company didn't want to sign us suddenly. Like I don't know why, but and then
I'm sorry, I'm
I
fucking with the
just
camera.
I just had a chance to try her for Boston Academy team and like some NA Academy team,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, it's like really long story, but like I was trying to play Boston Academy team and then like Houston Academy, like any just like contenders.
Mm-hmm. And so then, when did Fuel approach you? Then did they said like
Oh,
what? Like, why did they select you? Because you were playing with all these
oh,
random teams.
I really don't know why. Just like after like I signed with Boston like Academy team, almost like signed with them, I just got offer from like London Spitfire,
Oh, okay.
and then next day, just Kai just Discord me, and then like he wanted my POV or something like that, and he was asking about my question,
Hmm.
and then I just sent my screen like old screen video from Combox.
So were you playing in the tryouts then for London, and that's why they tried to
No,
scout
no,
you?
no. I didn't try for London. I didn't try for Fear.
Okay, so you just got you just got scouted. They
Yeah,
just
but
said
I
like,
don't know why.
okay, OG's a good player. Well, I mean, I heard at the time that like I heard from Krusty at the time because I was on season 1 Boston, obviously, even
Mhm.
though I didn't play, and
Yeah.
also from coaches like Tyrong, that like you were good, that you were a really good player, but I guess it was just like a reputation thing. Like everyone said like, oh, OG's really good. It wasn't, you weren't playing in any tryouts. They just thought you were really good and were offering you stuff. So then Kai then contacts you saying, okay, do you want to play for Fuel?
Yeah.
So why did London already give you a contract at this point, or like how exactly, why Fuel over London, you know?
Because I think it was more salary, of course, and you know, Gesture was really good, like way before, like Winston Meta, like, and I wasn't even good.
Okay, so
And
so
then,
it was
like,
it was sort of a mixture of salary, and also you were afraid that maybe you wouldn't get to play over Gesture.
yeah.
Mm.
I think it was a really good choice. Maybe I could be like TZ right now. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good choice. Like in the end, but also for Fuel, you know, to take the time, you got signed. I believe. Let's see, it was stage 2 is when they announced you. Was it like in stage 2 of the first season? Were you signed? Were you signed before then? Because they had already had XQC as a main tank, right?
Yeah.
So were you signed before then, or were you signed in because XQC was kind of getting fined and suspended like all the time?
I think when he was getting like suspend and fine, everything like that. I think.
Okay, so it was the London then before. Was it before Fuel, or was it after, or was it like at the same time? You know.
Just 1 day ago.
Oh, okay. So just 1 day before. Okay.
Yeah, 1 day before.
So then it comes in that then XQC. So you get signed to Fuel. You made the choice. I made more money.
Yeah.
I want more money. I go to Fuel. I could get to play, and XQC gets booted off the team. He's gone.
Yeah, I think
rest
he was
in
really
peace. He was really what?
I think he was really bad way before.
Oh, I imagine so.
Yeah.
And so you have to replace XQC in this Fuel lineup. At this point, Fuel, early in the season, you guys actually did not that great. Honestly, didn't do great. So you have to replace XQC. It's a team. What was sort of your role coming in, because XQC was leaving and people felt like he was a very big part of that team.
Yeah.
What was your role coming into Fuel and how they wanted you to work? Were you like big? You were a big caller, right? Like sort of with NC Foxes, you know, like you said.
Yeah.
But were you being a big caller for Fuel? Were you just going to be like, I'm only a tank player and I just don't talk that much? Like, what was your role within Fuel?
I think for stage 3, like it was really hard to like core something because I couldn't speak like any English, and it was like dive meta, I think.
Yeah, it was. It
And
was dive meta until like stage 4.
I think Kai told us, me, Laskar, Effect, we just speak Korean, and like you guys just look for dive or something like that. And then like it was really hard because like if you just speak Korean, like the
other half of the team wouldn't know what you were saying.
They don't understand like we are diving or we are peeling, like they don't, you know, they didn't understand anything. And then,
so there wasn't even like a basic understanding of like, because a lot of teams that are mixed, they have like the, you know, sort of the mixed Korean and English where they, you know, they use tear, they use dive, they use like P, you know. But you're saying that there really wasn't any of that at the time. It was just the Korean guys talking to each other, and then the English guys talking to each other, and there wasn't really any mix. It was just like that's how it played.
Yeah, and then it wasn't like good relationship each like coaches, each player. I think like I don't think it was only like language problem, you know.
So you felt like, because also that was going to be going into it was that, so we'll juxtapose off of this.
Yeah.
So you go from Korea to the U.S.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine that was, you said you didn't know very much English. Was that really hard for you in particular? Because a lot of Korean players and even and also the Chinese players as well, because it's obviously not where you're from. Like it would be just as hard for me to go live in Korea because I don't fucking know Korean. You know, I haven't lived in Korea before.
Yeah.
So was it hard for you learning English and learning like sort of how to live in the US while also learning how to be on the Fuel, or did you felt like it was pretty natural to you?
I think to learn English and to speak English, it was really hard like in the beginning because like I couldn't really like focus the game because I had to speak English, I had to play the game, like, you know, I didn't know like what was going on. But I think except that, I think to live in USA it was fine because like, you know, the manager like Tajmo, he helped me a lot, like everything. Like he was trying to make fun, he was trying to like just like how to live. Just
did they had a translator, right?
It was manager, like yeah, it was kind of.
Was that what's his name?
Violet.
Bolgen? Oh, Violet. That's right, Violet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Violet was also your manager and your translator. And did you have English classes with him?
I think I had Sophie.
Yes.
Yeah, I had Sophie. The
Okay.
English. Yeah.
And so you were learning English, and you were also learning how to um, play in the U.S. and live in the U.S.
Yeah.
But I felt like was your experience? Did you feel like just as hard as a lot of the other Korean players? Did you ever talk to any of the other Korean players and they all felt like they were having just as hard a time as you, or was it something unique to yourself?
Mm, you mean like back to back or right now?
Yeah, I mean, right now, or in
Oh,
general,
yeah.
or back then, like either way, because like obviously it's a
Mm,
little bit different now because all the
yeah.
Korean players have been playing in the U.S. now for close to 3 years. Obviously, not so
Hmm.
much this year,
Yeah.
but surely I feel like it couldn't have just been you in terms of like it was really hard to learn
Mm,
English and play the game, right? And also just be in the US,
yeah.
right? Because it's not even the same like necessarily the same
Mhm.
foods or the same culture.
I think only like for in the beginning it was really hard, but like after that I think like it wasn't that hard. Like I think I like the like NA culture, and I like to have like new friends and to
Ah.
know like new things, and it
So you're
wasn't that hard.
naturally K-Kona W. You're very naturally K-Kona compared to a lot of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so you make it to US and it's a little bit of a struggle in the beginning. You guys aren't doing
Mhm.
that great
Yeah.
initially.
Hmm.
And there's all these problems with like the language barrier, and XCC had left.
Hmm.
And then it comes out as well early on that you then get suspended for 4 games for
Yeah.
boosting.
Yeah.
And at the time, was that something that sort of was sprung out of nowhere in terms of like, was the team not prepared for that at all, or like was it communicated to you before? Because I imagine the boosting problem, which is a very divisive
Yeah.
problem between like in the West, people
Hmm.
don't care about as much compared to like Korea. People in Korea
Yeah.
care a lot more about the boosting.
Hmm.
So why? So I imagine you boosted more likely than not, and you can say why. Is that was it a money thing? I imagine because there just was no money in Korea at the 2017 when you played. Like you needed to make money and you had no money.
I mean, I could just like ask my parents to get money, but I didn't want like actually wanted to ask money because like I had to have money because like I had to go school and I had to go
Mm-hmm.
team house, so I had to use the train. Like it was like for like 1 hour 30 minutes like every day. Like I had
Mm-hmm.
to go I had to go school. I had to go team house. Like our team didn't want me to stay home, and then like I just like had to have train money, but I just didn't want to like ask to
Your
my
friends for
parents every
money.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you wanted to make your own money, and
yeah,
so. And to be fair, that's not even necessarily uncommon. I think. I think a lot of players, and we don't talk about it, especially back then,
yeah.
especially in the Korean scene, they boosted for money.
Hmm.
And I have a very different view of it than other people because my personal view is like if you need money and players want to go pro, like what's
Yeah,
the easiest and the best way to do it is boosting. It's like because
yeah,
if you get a regular job, where you're having to go to the store or whatever and work,
yeah.
you're not gonna have the time to play and to get good, right?
Mm,
So, and
yeah.
I feel like the incentive there, just people there need to be more money available, right, for people that are trying to go pro. But that's just a natural consequence. And
But
so,
I
mhm.
didn't know. I didn't even know like boosting was really bad though. Like because
Oh, you weren't even
I
aware?
didn't. No, I didn't even know like boosting is bad. But Neko told me maybe he told me like, oh, it can be bad for your future. But I was like just young and forget.
So it wasn't something that you already knew. It was like
No.
communicated after the fact. So this isn't like some sort of because I would think for like the Korean gaming culture, everyone knows
Hmm.
from the beginning that boosting's bad, but that's not the case. Like you just had no idea, and then someone told you, "Hey,
No, I
boosting
had
is
no idea.
bad." Wow. So that definitely changes, I think, a little bit the perspective that I think people would have because if you don't even know how are you and you need to make money and no one's told you it's bad, it's tough to like even know that was like a
Yeah.
wrong thing to do. So you need the money, you get suspended for four
For
games,
game. Yeah.
and then Taimu has to play Winston
Yeah.
for 4 games. Uh, was this something that the team, at the time, because getting suspensions can be kind of like some teams can get mad at each other, right? For getting
Yeah.
suspensions, did they really blame you for that, or were they understanding that like,
Um.
like it happens, or was there any sort of extra consequences there, or is it sort of just we'll deal with it, we'll deal with it, OG, because it just
I
happens.
think everyone was just trying to just like help me because
Mm-hmm.
like Korean player, I mean Korean people was like trying to blame me like a lot, and then I was
Yeah.
kind of like emotional person, and I was like having hard, like tough time. So I think everyone was just trying to help me.
Was it a tough time for you at this time because of the fact that Korean fans were so harsh on you about
Yeah,
boosting in particular? It was because it was pretty much only about the boosting, right? That they were
yeah,
really mad about. So
yeah,
because it seems like it's really really harsh, the effects that are felt. So you felt all
mhm,
this pressure from the Korean fans, and so everyone was being
yeah,
trying understanding for you. Do you think
mhm.
that's something that's unique to being a Korean player? You know, of that there's like a different expectation from Korean fans than there are from Western fans? Or do you think it's like a similar experience, you know, in terms of, because this is specifically at boosting, but I'm talking about in general. Do you
Yeah.
think Korean fans are just more harsh than Western fans,
I think so.
just in general?
But I think they just like okay, so I think they really didn't like because like if they are playing like for plat game and then enemy like McCree or like Winston is like shitting
Mm-hmm.
like their team or something, so they didn't really didn't like that kind of stuff. I think.
Okay. Well, then, so
Yeah.
the team is continuing. So we move past the boosting, and Dallas is not doing well, obviously. Even after you come back
Yeah.
from your games, they're still not
Mhm.
doing well. It's still dive meta.
Mhm.
Things are going poorly, and then it gets announced that Kai Kai is leaving.
Yeah.
Kai Kai is exiting. Peak is going to be the interim coach, and then
Yeah.
Arrow gets brought in for stage like 4, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
During that transitional period on the fuel, because
Mhm.
you sort of talked about the difference in the coaching staff and like the players,
Yeah.
right? And talking,
Mhm.
what do you think going from Kai Kai to Peak to Arrow? Did you feel there was like significant positive changes going that way? Did you think it was about the same? Like, what was the experience as a fuel player? Do you think it was a
Uh,
lack of communication from the coaches, or just a not the right direction that sort of led fuel to have a really tough time that season, that first season?
I think we like before Aerocom we I don't think we had like one like decision,
Mm-hmm.
and then since Aero just came like after for our team, and like he was trying to make like decision and like trying to like make the like leader team, and like of course every time like when you have like new player or new coach, like when you start like new things, like I think always like motivation for everyone to I think.
Okay, so you think Arrow was doing you think did a better job of just making one plan for the whole team?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
before, it was just too many plans, or like no one was listening, or there wasn't a good
no,
direction. But with Arrow, you think it was a much better just one plan, even if it wasn't always the right plan. It was at least one plan.
yeah, at least we had to plan.
At least we had a plan. Okay,
Yeah.
and then you get to stage 4,
Hmm.
and in stage 4, you guys actually do pretty well. Brigida comes out. You guys do a really good
Yeah.
job of using Brigida. You have like your best stage by far during the season.
Yeah.
And leading into that stage, why would you say that? Why would you say that that stage was so good for you guys? Was it because of Arrow? Was it because of the meta? You know, were you guys getting better as a team,
Uh,
or was it just like a mixture?
I think like other team didn't know like how much Brigitte was like really strong. I think I don't
Mhm.
like of course like Mickey was really good at break, but I think we were good at them meta, and like everyone just did understand like how much is important for. I mean, how much was strong or for break.
Very good. So do you think you guys were the first team to like figure out that Brig was good?
Yeah, I think so.
Who was like sort of in charge of figuring out that Brig was good? Was it like a team effort? Was Mickey saying, "Oh, Brig's busted," or was it Arrow?
I
Like,
don't.
how did you guys exactly figure out that Brigida was so good before everyone else?
To be honest, like I just don't know why, but like after Brigitte came out, like Mickey just said, "Oh, I'm just gonna play break, okay," and then we just try, and then like we had good lizard in from Scream, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were just keep playing, and like
It just was good.
yeah,
It just was good.
and back to back like Valiant was really good, I think,
Mm-hmm.
but Valiant always lost against us, so I think we just had confidence like to play break, I think.
Okay, so it was sort of just one of those decisions where you try it and it goes well, and so you decide to just keep doing it,
Yeah, I
and
think
that's
so.
pretty much it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And would you describe as like, so you already talked about as well that the Korean versus Western guys, you know, during game, there wasn't a lot of speaking because of the language differences.
Yeah.
Was it better outside of the game? Like, were you guys all friends on the fuel, or was like, because some teams there's a big divide, right? And which just happens because the Korean guys want to be hanging out with each other and talking Korean to each other because they're in a country they've never been in before.
Yeah.
And the Western guys sort of hang out with themselves and they're speaking English stuff. Were they all friends? Was it a big friend on fuel, or was there sort of a separation between the Korean and the Western on fuel as well?
I think it was only one Korean. I think it was only me. I think because Effect went Korea. I think.
Oh,
back to
that's
back.
right. Effect went back to Korea at one point. Yeah.
And I just like to hanging out with everyone and.
Yeah, you're very K-Kona. Very K-Kona.
And then I don't know. I think it was we didn't actually have problem at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then first season and finishes, not a good season, all things considered. It was like a good stage 4, but a bad everything else. So the team was kind of a disaster throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
And you get to 2019, you get to last year.
Yeah.
And then you have another bad season with Fuel again.
Yeah.
So, and stages 1 and 2, you guys actually do pretty decently. And this is obviously Arrow's your head coach this entire time. There isn't any really staff changes that are happening. And then you get to stage 3 and 4, and it just really, really bad. But it was goats the entire season.
Yeah.
Why do you attribute, going from a good the good end of last year, where you guys were pretty good stage 4 for 2018, and you go to 2019 and you start out okay, and then you do really badly towards the end? Was it a strength of schedule thing? Because you guys did play harder teams towards the end of the year. Was it Sombra? What exactly was it?
I think I can say maybe it was I think it was only goats, right?
For most part, yeah. I mean, Shanghai played, they played their thing, but for pretty much it was goats.
Yeah. I think I can say it was tough schedule too, but I don't want to say the reason why we lost every day.
Yeah.
Back to back, but I think it was everyone was trying to learn and be better. Even if they lost stage 1, even if they lost stage 2, they were trying to improve. I think we were trying to improve, but I think we didn't trying to be. I mean, we were trying to improve. I think we did less. We did less less effort, I think.
Okay, so you think it was more of people weren't trying very hard, pretty much.
Yeah, I think so.
Not hard enough. And people also made that criticism from last year too. People said that first season that Fuel weren't trying hard enough. Do you think that was a consistent issue with, not with necessarily Fuel now, but with Fuel back then, from season 1 and season 2, that Fuel had a problem where people were not putting in enough effort to be good? Do you think that was a consistent problem, or would you say that was just really only for season 2?
I think it was only for season 2 for me, because I wasn't playing for season 1 whole stage, So I think it was only season 2, and I can say people can say maybe our coaching staff was really good, or something like that. But I think maybe people can say it was good coaching staff, but I think we were even good player for coaching staff too. You know what I mean?
As in you guys
not good student, something like that.
Okay, so you were saying that you guys aren't the best, the best students to the teacher that is the coach. You weren't really listening to the coach as good as you could have been, or learning from the coach.
We could learn. Yeah. Even if we didn't have actual good strategy, but we can still could be better player to learn from coaches.
So just not good enough. So sometimes just bad team players. Just
it can be bad players. It can be coaching staff. Not only one side.
Just
everything.
It can be all of it combined. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so we go through the stage. Goats is being played. You have another rough season, and you could chalk it up, like you said. You could say that it could be both. You guys were not good team. You guys didn't have the right coaches. You guys weren't trying all that. Everything combined. Could be all, right?
Yeah, because I didn't know before. I thought it was only coaching thing, but I think I realized since I joined here, I was a really good player for them too.
So maybe your mindset wasn't very good for Fuel at the time. not
Yeah,
very
I
good
think so
mindset.
too. And not only me, like I think it was everyone for
Yeah, just
everyone.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the season finishes. Not another
Mhm.
good season for you guys on the Fuel, and you've been another struggle season for the Fuel, and like you talked, all those different problems for everybody and the coaches, everyone having
Yeah.
problems. And then we roll into this season. Or actually,
Yeah.
let's go before we go into that season. Let's go to World Cup for
Okay.
2019 World Cup.
Mhm.
So you weren't on Team South Korea for 2019,
Yeah.
or for 2018. Did you ever feel that because a lot of players feel like they don't get the shot, they need for World Cup?
Mhm.
Do you think you were ever in a position to say that you could have been on Team South Korea like Mono or like Fate? Or
Mhm.
did you feel that boosting maybe hurt you to go for Team South Korea? Or how
I
did you feel
mean,
about that?
I think of course, like they have to think about community too. Like I don't think they could pick the booster,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I was playing really good. Like I can say maybe stage one, stage two was good, but like when they had to pick the players, it was like stage three, stage four, and we were like losing every day, and like I wasn't even good, like
Yeah.
so I think it's both. Like I wasn't really good for that, and I don't think they could pick the like booster.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think it potentially would have gone differently for this year at least? Maybe if do you think you've changed enough as a player to where, because obviously for this last year World Cup, this is the first ever that South Korea
Yeah.
lost to the
Yeah.
US. Do you think it would have gone differently with you potentially, or do you think it maybe would have been about the same? Like, what are your thoughts on Team South Korea from 2019? Do you think they made some weird choices, right? Like, because they ran kind of weird compositions, weird heroes
Yeah.
compared
Yeah.
to a lot of teams. What do you think would be like? What do you think is your insight to that? Like, why did they do that? Would it have been any different with you, or is it just like kind of just that was the mindset for the team? Like, what happened there for Team South Korea?
I think like like let's example like for example like like last week I think last week we play like Ryan Jaria
Uh huh.
Doomcom like us and Shock they play like Ryan Jaria Doomcom and everyone was playing like Spamcom and like example like for Chinese team they were playing like dive with border
Yeah,
or
and
like
Pharaoh and Widow and stuff.
yeah I think it's like just different meta and different thing and then for South Korea team, like they thought that com was really good. I think like in Korea,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't really good in. I mean, for against like NACOM,
Yeah.
and then their adoption was really like bad. I think like they could pick maybe they could just switch and they could try, but I think they were scared about like to try new things for like 2 days, 3 days.
Yes, because it's just a
Yeah.
short time. It's tough. So you think it was really just
Yeah,
they picked the wrong comp, pretty much, just
I
wrong comp.
I think so, and
Okay.
I think they had a lot of pressure too.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
didn't have like a practice facility for parts of
Yeah.
for their boot camp and things like that. All right. So then moving on from 2019
Yeah.
to now 2020. So you've been with Fuel for 2
Mhm.
years.
Yeah.
And now obviously you're with Gladiators.
Hmm.
What prompted, was it your choice to sort of, was it your choice like Gladiators? Did Gladiators come to you? Were you looking at other teams other than Gladiators, or like how exactly that offseason go for you, right? Because a lot of people still thought you were a really good main tank, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you were, but you hadn't had success with Fuel for 2 years. Was it more of a you needed to leave that team and like Fuel was thinking like, yeah, like we might need a change, or do you think that you needed to change and you went to Gladiators?
I think we were fuel need to change at the moment, and then I was thinking about like I have to leave or someone have to leave the team. Like I don't think it's gonna be like great for 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew before like after season two, and I just decided like someone have to leave. Oh, it can be me, it can be anyone. And we were talking about that, and then, okay, they didn't like. I think I just want to leave. I just want to try for new teams, and I was just looking for team, and I had some like offers, and just Hestro just gave me a chance to go join like whatever I want, like whatever what like
Whichever
whatever
team.
like
Yeah.
whichever team. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there was really just there was agreed upon that something had to change, and it didn't even necessarily have to be you. It just had to be some player had to
Some
probably
player,
change.
it can be coaches,
Yeah, but so and
Yeah.
so then you thought it best just for you to leave, and so Fuel was like, yeah,
Yeah.
and so it goes to Gladiators. Was Gladiators one of the the team that reached out to you saying, hey, we want you? Like, did you do tryouts for them, or was it more of
Uh,
a like you really wanted to go to Gladiators type of thing? Like, how did that work out?
I think I can say right now it was Toronto and Paris. They really wanted me,
Mm-hmm.
and then so like I was thinking to go Toronto or Paris like for 2 3 days. I couldn't even sleep for that, but and then suddenly like David, Deep just
Yeah.
DM me and we were talking each other and he just told me we have space and I just wanted to play space one day and
Okay. So then Gladiators just happened to work out that it was going to be one of those teams, and then DPay says, "Hey, be on Gladiators," and so you go to Gladiators.
yeah, and they were trying to match like contract and it wasn't really bad to go like this team to like
Yeah. So your
it's
contract would be similar to what it was with
yeah,
Fuel.
it's similar to which
Okay,
team is.
makes sense. And so then you go to Gladiators,
Yeah.
and you get there.
hmm
And how would you describe your experience on Gladiators versus your experience on Fuel? Do you think you've had a much better experience with Gladiators so far than you did with Fuel in terms of like you personally and like your mindset and being with the team? Do you think it's a lot better for you than it was for Fuel,
I think
or similar?
it's way different. Like for me, like I can say like it's really different
Mm-hmm.
because like I don't know how to explain it for everything, but like DPay just like really want to win the Overwatch League, and like even if like I think like no matter what, like I play good or not, like he was just trying to make like better player, like not like skill or not mechanic, just like better professional player.
Yeah. So better. So instead of worrying so much about
Yeah,
your like mechanics, like it's all built around everyone becoming better team, a much better team
yeah,
together.
better team, better player. Like
Yeah. And so
yeah,
it's not as focused around like the individual. It's more of just the team and everyone getting better together.
yeah.
And so it just fits like the effort a lot more for you. Do you think because also you talked about for Fuel that you didn't think your mindset was as good for Fuel,
No,
right? Do you think
yeah.
your mindset's a lot better with Gladiators, or is that just because of you getting better, like your mindset getting better, or is that
I
DPay
think
helping with your
I
mindset?
think I think like not, it wasn't only DPay, but like
For
David
everyone.
and Curry,
Okay.
like Foster's face, like everyone was trying to help me like to get better player. Like I used to be tilt a lot, but like since I joined here, I've never like I haven't tilt for like I never tilt from like in this team. Like I don't know why, but
Not even
I
with
don't know. Like,
Mirror?
not
Mirror's
even with
very
Mira.
dumb.
Yeah, Mira is very dumb, but I just like I'm not like I was youngest player. I mean, not youngest, but like I was really young player in Dallas, and
Hmm.
I came here, and then I'm like boomer. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not boomer. But I'm kind of like boomer, and like I had to lead this team, and I realized like I shouldn't be like before.
So you're more of a leader, you'd say, for this team than you were for Fuel? For Gladiators?
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
and
more of a
then
leader.
yeah, and TP was like trying to help me a lot, like about like how can I be better player and how can I be better teammate.
Would you say that the direction for like the coaching staff, right, for DPay and Tim and Fostis and Curry Shot and
Yeah.
all of them,
hmm
would you say the direction for them was just is it just different from Fuel, or is it better, or like is it just really good for you in terms of how they do it? Like would you say that like another player could go to Fuel with the coaching that they do, right, and be very good, or is that just Gladiators is a good fit for you?
I think just glad it's really good fit with me because like I don't think it was like they were like Dallas was trying to play as a team,
Mm-hmm.
but Glass like we should play for like team and like let's example like we can't waste like scrim time, practice time, like we can't even throw, like we can just like have fun, like we just have to focus, like we are trying to win this scrim and we're trying to like make them scared, like if you're face in the match,
Mm-hmm.
like we just like play the scrim like same as match, like we are trying to play scrim as same as match.
Yeah.
So it's like
Very serious, like all
yeah,
the
very
time.
sure, yeah, all the time. So like we're gonna have better practice than other team most, I think.
Okay.
Every time, I think. Yeah.
And so also in addition to that, so we talked
Yeah.
about how Korean fans are like a little bit
Mhm.
sometimes more harsh. But
Yeah.
you have a lot bigger Western following now. Like lots of people from all over the West like watch your streams, they
Yeah.
look at your YouTube, they follow you. Has that been like because sometimes some Korean players have a harder time building that fan base, right? You know, like
Yeah.
like they're really big in Korea, but a
Yeah.
lot tougher to be big in the West. Would
Mhm.
you say that Fuel helped you with that, or is that just like your natural personality, like your inclination is you wanted to have lots of Western fans, or it just like
Mm,
worked out that way? Like, how exactly were you able to build like a fan base in the West while
I
being
think
a Korean
yeah.
player?
I think I just didn't think about like I'm gonna have like a lot of fans. I think I was just in Dallas and I was just trying to win. I was just trying to get better and like I just like yeah, I mean not anymore, but I used to like stream a lot and
Yeah,
I didn't like trying to make the fun, but I was just dumb. But people like
people like
like
the belly. Yeah.
yeah, people like the belly or something like that, and I don't know. I think just like fear, a lot of fear fans just I think liked me. I think,
So it
and
just
then
worked out that way.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And would you say that now that you've been in Overwatch League for
Mhm.
a couple years, would you think that it's I guess looking back on it, would you have ever wanted to be on a full Korean roster versus a mixed roster, Do you think it would have been easier for you? Do you think it would have been more fun for you? Like or would you have always preferred to think at this point, like as you've looked upon your whole career, do you think being on a mixed roster now from Fuel to Gladiators
Yeah.
has helped you or improved you in like ways not even just about the game, but also just being like a person?
I think like after I had tough time from season one when I was in Pure,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of wanted to join like Korean team because I can't express what I want to do. Like I don't even know like what can I say like at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
like so I kind of wanted to join, but like after I think stage. I mean, after just like 2019, like I don't think it's good choice. It's gonna be have like different problem. Like every team has problem. I don't think it was like I didn't even think about like only like language problem or something like that. And to speak English is really good for my future.
Yeah.
And then like after that, I just didn't think about like I wanna join Korean team.
Okay. So it was really so because a lot of players feel like they just want to go back to Korean teams after being even on a mixed team for 1 year. They're just like, oh fuck it, I want to go speak Korean. And just like I don't want to fuck with English anymore. I just want to be on
Yeah,
a Korean team. But you felt like it was always just no matter which team you go, there'd be problems. So might as well just pick the
yeah,
best team for you, pretty
yeah,
much. And that's just worked out that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Okay. And now we've covered sort of the transitional periods for OG. We've gone through all of your teams, and we have to talk about more like holistic stuff, which is
Hmm.
so going into Gladiators, and you guys also have Cloudy.
Hmm.
Uh, you never really had to split your playtime that much before because you split. You accepted that you're going to probably be starting on Fuel, and even when they got Trill, you
Hmm.
played almost all the time.
Yeah.
Um, So how do you feeling now? Like, is it going to be a more even split? Do you think, or not even even, but at least you might split more playtime with Cloudy because we saw Cloudy before.
Yeah.
Is it something that you're okay with? Because some players only want to play all the time, right? Like, which makes sense because you want to have
Yeah.
as much
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
time possible.
Mhm.
Is that something that you would be okay with now, and that like you want to split time with Cloudy? Is that something that's going to happen a lot, or is it something that you're like perfectly okay with?
I mean, like before, like of course, like every player like wanna play like every time. But
Mm-hmm.
like because I think that mind is kind of like young mind, like baby mind.
Yeah, baby mine.
Like we are not trying to win for one game. We are trying to win for season. Like just whoever like better for matches. Like they should play. Like just I'm not like I don't care about like who's gonna play for my position. Like who's gonna play for like any position. I'm just like we are just trying to for win. Like
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter as
yeah, it
much to
doesn't really
you
matter.
anymore about who's playing as long as you're winning, As
Yeah,
long as you win, that's more important.
yeah.
And so you were supposed to do homestands this year, obviously, and then
Yeah.
COVID happened, so no homestands at all online.
Hmm.
Do you think being online is a bad or a good thing, or is it like a mixed thing? A little of both. Like, because obviously you don't get to do homestands, and you had a really
Yeah.
good time at it looked like, at least, with the Dallas homestand last year.
Yeah.
And you don't get to play on LAN. And now you have to deal with ping, and you have to deal with all this other crap of being online.
Yeah.
Do you think that's bad for this year for like competitive wise? Like, because teams maybe will have advantage because of internet, or because of like a disconnect or something. Do you think that's bad for the league, or do you think it's okay, or is it just we have to deal with it, right? There's nothing we can do.
I mean, everything it can be bad for online because like it's gonna be like low quality production and everything. Like it's gonna be a lot of mistake, like anything, Like,
Yeah.
but I feel like just everyone should understand because like we can do anything about that. Like we just need to be safe. We have to be alive. Like like
Yeah, so we have to be alive first, and
yeah,
that's the most
yeah.
important. But do you think it could, like, let's say you guys win this season, okay? Let's just say you guys win this season, and what happens then if a bunch of fans say, Gladiators are not the real winners because it was online and maybe they had advantage, right? Like, what would you think in that? Is that like a reasonable thing to say, or do you think that's dumb to think like, no?
I think that's like stupid. I think only stupid people can say that. I think.
Only stupid people can say that?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Does it? But what happens if you guys did, like, let's say you get into the finals, right? And you guys do have like all your PCs are working, your internet is good, and then the other team you're playing, their PCs are dying, or maybe their internet goes out, right? Or one person keeps disconnecting, like, and then that could potentially hurt the finals, right? Would you still think that's a valid argument, like in terms of the competitive, like how in the integrity of it, or is that still just a better team wins?
I think it can be like if they're like close team each other, like let's example like from last year, okay, like Vancouver Shock was like really close each other, and if they had like PC problem, I like of course it can be bad, but I don't think like we have to care about like that kind of stuff because like no one can do anything about that, like we just need to understand, I think.
Okay.
And like still like I don't know, I'm not sure like happened already, but like just I think Overwatch League like Overwatch League steps like trying to like we can just say PP and like they can try to like go your PC and try to fix like like I think it's fine. I don't think like
You don't think it's
I
that
think
big of a deal?
yeah, and then still if happens in the future, I think people just need to understand like which is like everyone can do anything about that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sort of our wrapping up statement here, or getting close to done, is hero pools.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think hero pools hurts, like, not only the game, but let's say specifically you? Do you think hero pools matters for you at all? Can you play everything that if needed? Like, let's say 1 week that they have like certain main tanks banned. Like, does it really matter to you or to the game? Like, do you think that's bad? Would you rather see just the bans, like in League, where the teams pick the heroes that are banned, or no bans at all? Or do you think hero pools is like good?
I
Like,
think hero first like really great because like I mean I don't know about for other team, but like I can play anything and like no matter what. I didn't know like what was fundamental, but like after I learned what is fundamental, like and David always told us like fundamental is best important, like no matter what which com, like if you're just like you have good fundamental and good teamwork, like you can beat like any com and like so I think for us like really like I mean I don't know for other team, but I think it's fine to have hero first for our team, and I really like to play like a lot of comps like different meta, and like every week's like every different weeks like meta is different, but I can play anything, like.
So you would say the fundamentals, because David being DPay taught you the fundamentals, because some people have said that Overwatch is not as good now because of hero pools, because teams aren't as good. Like last year, where Shock and Titans were really, really good on goats, like they were best goats, they're best at goats.
Yeah.
But you're saying that the way DPay talks about it is that fundamentals are the most important. So do you think teams that are still just really good and have good fundamentals now will still be the best, and it's still like good Overwatch, still good professional Overwatch, even though it's like you don't get as much time to practice? Would you agree that fundamentals is more important, or is it better to spend more time practicing one composition, one hero?
I mean, if you have like better fundamental, and if you practice for like if you practice really hard, same as match every day, like for 1 week, like you will have better practice than like other team. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I think like it can be hard for like other coaching staff and because to get ready for matches, but I still think it's really good for like players because like if they play like one comp, like let's see like let's example like if you have to study only one thing, like I can be like I can just go like good college, like good university, you know, like
Yeah.
do you understand like what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So you could go. So you could go to a really good university and study
yeah,
one thing.
if you like study only one subject, like you can study that. Like I think something like that. I think.
Okay, that makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
honestly, OG, we have
Hmm.
gotten through pretty much just about everything that I really wanted to hit for you. I guess the final thing to say now is that you've made a lot. This is the last question. Promise is that
Yeah.
you made a lot of tweets, and I don't know if it's joke tweets or like you've said
Yeah.
stuff like, "What if I coach?" or like, "What if I like
Oh.
retire?" Like, what happened? Like, what is? Are you contemplating like you becoming a coach, or is it just you're just thinking like, "What if I became a
Oh.
coach?" Like,
Oh. Because.
what's going on with there? Like, are you thinking
Oh.
maybe like before for
Because
future?
I like to think about like my future every time, every day. Like I just wonder like what I'm gonna do because I didn't even know I was going to be pro player. You know, like
Yeah. So has it worried you maybe thinking about like if you're done being a pro, where do you go from there,
the
right? Like what do you do
yeah,
after? Okay.
yeah, what I do after and what people think if I do this. You know, like
Do you think you'd want to keep being a professional player or would you maybe want to do something else?
uh, I think okay. To be honest, like I wanna try it for other things, but it's really risky to give up salary. You know,
Yeah.
like it's really hard to make this money. I mean, like this money
Yeah.
is in Korea. You know, like
Mhm.
it's really hard to make like this kind of money. So I think I'm not sure like what I'm gonna do in the future, but I still think I'm gonna be pro player or I'm gonna work for esports for long. I think like no matter what, which game, no matter what, like which lore. I think.
Oh, makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
guys, we tried to keep it a little short for OG. We actually went a little bit long. You did really good. You were worried about it. It was actually really good. So that's
Hmm.
it for Hero Select 4 with OG.
Hmm.
If you guys want to look at his Twitch is linked below him on the stream. His Twitter there as well if you want to listen to all of his great thoughts. So that's it for today. We're gonna be putting it out on putting it out on all of YouTube, Spotify, blah 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 blah. You can check it out there, obviously. Thank you guys for tuning in. You should go check out OG's channel. He's gonna be playing again this weekend as well. It's gonna be very exciting. And that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, they need to watch this weekend.
Yeah,
I'm
that
gonna
you
play
need to
against
watch.
Dallas Fear. Tajimo is there. Tajimo is gonna cry.
All right, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.